Welcome to today's edition of Wellbeing with Neka. If you're just coming across this video, kindly click subscribe so you do not miss any of the wonderful topics we talk about. Wellbeing with Neka talks about everything that will help your life be better, from mental health to physical health to nutrition, relationships, just name it. We talk about it from a professional and scientific point of view. This is all I do to support you. On today's episode, we'll be talking about how to lose belly fat in 30 days. Yes, this sounds cliche. There are so many videos, there are so many podcasts, so many things talking about the same topic. And you'll be like, oh, again, no. I am coming to you as a nutritionist and as a psychology of mental health and well-being practitioner. So I will be balancing this nutritionally and psychologically, if there's anything like that. Before we delve into the topic, I want to tell you that this episode is going to break belly fat down in ways nobody else has ever done. We're going to talk about the benefits of having belly fat. Nobody has ever told you that there is any benefit of having visceral or belly fat. Then we'll go to what causes it before we talk about how to burn it in 30 days. Welcome once again, and don't forget to subscribe. Is belly fat truly that dangerous or bad? The answer is yes and no. Let us start with no. Belly fat is not always the danger, or is not always the demon it is portrayed as. Belly fat protects the internal organs we have in the stomach. These are your kidney, your pancreas, your liver, all these organs that are vital to our well-being. A level or an amount of fat is needed to cushion them, to protect them and give them mechanical safety. So imagine if you did not have anything protecting these vital organs. Another importance of having belly fat is to maintain the internal temperature of the body. The body is supposed to have a stipulated or a standard internal body temperature. That's why you can check your temperature and they will tell you that the standard is 37.5 or between 37 and 37.5. That's the standard. So the belly fat helps to maintain the body's internal temperature. This is the reason why when there is a drastic loss of weight, people tend to get colder more easily. When others are feeling warm, they are cold. Another benefit of belly fat is storing fat or energy in times of starvation or fasting. Now that we know that there are benefits to belly fat, let us go to when it becomes a source of concern. Stay tuned. How do you tell when your visceral or belly fat becomes a cause for concern? A lot of people compare their bellies to every other person's own, and that is how they decide if they should get worried about their belly fat or not. I will tell you a simple trick on how to know when to get worried about your belly fat. There is something called waist to hip ratio. Yes, you probably have never heard about that. That is why you should remain on this channel and don't touch that dial. The waist to hip ratio is the standard of knowing when your visceral or belly fat becomes a source of concern. And how is this calculated? This is calculated by using a tape measure, a body tape measure, around your belly or around your belly button, to get your waist measurement. Then you use the same tape to measure the highest point of your hip all round. When you get this measurement, you divide your waist measurement by what you got for your hip measurement. There is a standard which tells us when it becomes a source of concern. Now that you've gotten the measurements, what is the next step? You divide your waist measurement by the hip measurement. For females, the answer should not be greater than 0.85, and for males, 0.95. Once you are above this result, you should be worried. It means your visceral fat or your belly fat has gone above normal. So instead of wanting your belly to be slimmer than your neighbor's own, to be as slim as Ada's own, you can actually decide, or you can actually determine using a tape in your home whether you should do something. If your result is above 0.85, it means you're prone to obesity-related challenges. You're prone to heart-related problems that are also linked to obesity. Now that you have learned that, let us move to how to get your belly fat down in 30 days. The first thing you have to do is to change your diet. Change of diet. Let's get into it. This is definitely not your first time of hearing that your diet could be the reason you have big stomach. But I can assure you this is the first time it's going to be broken down for you. I'm not going to give you a diet plan. I'm just going to tell you how what you eat and when you eat them can be a source of worry when it comes to managing your belly fat. The body metabolism naturally slows down towards evening due to the 24 hours circadian rhythm. That is how it is. From morning till around bedtime, your body starts to slow down because it has been wired in such a way to know that bedtime does not require a lot of energy. Now, if you decide to eat very close to your bedtime, what it means is that the body will not have any use for that food you ate. The body awakens insulin. I'm sure we've heard about insulin. If you've not heard about insulin, you can drop in the comment section. Let me explain in another video. So the body awakens the insulin. The insulin's job is to direct the glucose from food, from the bloodstream to where they are needed, either as a source of energy or to be stored as fat. So if you're sleeping, definitely the body does not need much energy to do anything. So what insulin will do is to keep them for you as a source of energy. What you have succeeded in doing is triggering the action of insulin to store fat in your body. That is why some people call insulin a fat storage hormone. Now this happens and you wake up again to eat more food very early when your body has not used up the one you stored last night. Yes. What have you achieved, or what would you have achieved by doing so? You activate the insulin again. Yes, nobody has broken it down for you this way. That is why you should stay glued to this channel. So if this becomes your pattern, coupled with cortisol fluctuations during the day due to normal life stress, you will constantly be on a flight mode. Your body will constantly be on a flight mode, trapping energy, trapping fat around your stomach. Now that you have understood this, what I have explained is timing for your food. As you go toward closer to bedtime, you have to stop or reduce what you're eating that will trigger glucose production, especially carbohydrates. And when people say carbohydrates, a lot of people forget to add that many fruits are high in sugar and carbohydrates. So if you're conscious of your belly fat, if you're conscious of working on it in the next 30 days, you have to remove glucose or insulin triggering foods towards bedtime or towards the time when your body has started winding down, ready for bed. Another step to achieving reduced belly fat in 30 days is intermittent fasting. You have heard this before, but you don't know why or how it works. Intermittent fasting is a window given during the day or an interval between 2 meal times to enable the body make use of the stored energy. It is not a religious fast. So if you wake up in the morning and you give yourself an intermittent fast period before eating, what it means is that the body will use up whatever energy that might have spilled over from the previous day. Has anybody explained this to you? I bet not. So that is how your diet affects how you burn your belly fat. When you have got the timing right, you now go into your menu proper, your diet proper. I have mentioned carbohydrates, glucose, and insulin. And if you've followed long enough, you will understand that these three and cortisol are the major culprits. However, we cannot do without them. We cannot do without carbohydrates. What we have to do is to reduce the quantity and change the timing. We also have to incorporate other foods that will help these carbohydrates slow down their release of glucose into the body. So if you have gotten to this point, you've understood the timing and how it affects how the body stores and uses fats. You would also have understood that carbohydrates is not, eating carbohydrates is not the problem. However, what is the problem is when and how you eat them. You have to reduce drastically the quantity of carbohydrates you eat and pair them with vegetables that will help in digestion, filling you up faster and reducing the speed with which sugar is released in the bloodstream. Now that we are here, we have talked about diet and how you can manage it to lose belly fat in 30 days. We'll stop here and continue in the next episode. If you have gotten to this point and you're yet to subscribe, you probably missed the notification of the next video. Thank you for watching. Watch out for the conclusion.